world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koala, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koala, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, get ready, there is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris with mixed lots of other countries, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all our sons' command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la gloire. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus belles.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koala, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koala, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, get ready, there is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can be.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris with mixed lots of other countries, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all our sons' command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la gloire. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus belles.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can be.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris with mixed lots of other countries. world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris with mixed lots of other countries, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all our sons' command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la gloire. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus belles.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We took up the monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French took everyone and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when fresh water's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can be.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris with mixed lots of other countries, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all our sons' command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la gloire. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus belles.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when fresh water's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can be.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo bears, a Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Friends together, wine and cheese, koalas, chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Hello to everyone who has decided to come visit us on the Blind Trucking channel. We're on BG's channel. And honk honk, we are using clickbait. I did kind of ask BG to change it, but to be honest, she's probably not wrong for not doing it, because that would probably destroy the channel. Because I joked that I don't change it. Do not change it. It's probably not a good idea. Because I was joking that I wanted it to be named something like, the gloves are going to come off soon for you, Mr. Mouse. And I stand by that. I think it's time for many adults, many parents, and people who raise kids and just genuinely appreciate kids to speak up and be like, okay, listen, this thing that you're pushing, it's not actually a good thing for the LGBT. It's not good for your image. It makes you look like a groomer. There are so many Mickey is touching the poor children in the naughty places photos out here, and you're not getting the memo. It's not about you being gay. It is not about you being gay, because the amount of gay people I've seen being, well, then we need a don't say straight bill. And I'm like, okay, then make one. Oh, wait, we already did. Because that's what the bill is about. It's about not being a pervert to 4-year-olds and 8-year-olds and above. Stop being weird around kids. You're not their parents. Stop saying shit like that. They do not belong to you. They are not your children. They're your responsibility for 9 months. Maybe. I think it's what, 8 months if you take away the holidays?
Yeah, something like that.
So, like, they're not your children. They're your responsibility, and yes, you should take that seriously. They're children. They're human beings. So yes, they are your responsibility, but they are not your minds to mold. There we go. That is a very, very gross way to look at human beings, especially little minds. Yes, they are there to learn. They are to learn how to get along with other people. And yes, someday they will have to learn how to get along with people who are LGBT, but that is not your job. You do not know these children. You're not their parent. It is their parents' job to talk to them and teach them how to deal with other people.
Well, if you want to go with this line of inquiry, check out the very last link I sent you. And thanks for the title, Drop Your Gloves, Disney.
Like, yeah, I will. let me.
Down here, most school years are usually around 180 school days out of the year. Usually 8 hours at most of the day. A lot of times it's usually around 7 hours. But like I said, 180 school days a year, so less than half of the year. And even on those days, it's a third of the day at most. So when it boils down to it, 60 days out of the year, they're responsible for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, these no square people have decided they're going to fund genital mutilation. They're going to pay for it.
Yeah, but they're not going to pay for it with their money. They're going to pay for it with your money.
No,
without
Disney
your consent.
is going to pay for it. Disney is going to pay for it with their money.
Oh.
Any of their employees' kids gender transitioning.
Which is
Disney
okay.
better be better to start ponying up a lot more money than that later on when the kids realize that maybe it was just a phase and now you've got permanent damage done to your body.
Yeah. That's basically what's going on. Is a lot of these kids will go and transition, and then a couple of years later they're like, you know what, I might have just been gay. This doesn't really seem like something that was for me. That's not to say that some of them aren't legit trans, but a lot of them don't even want to take it that far. A lot of trans people don't want to take it that far because there's always the option that their dysphoria can go the other way.
Well, it's not even a sexuality thing. It's not even a sexuality in this thing in this sense. I mean, for the most part, was it statistically right now, the highest number of trans is girls who feel like they're boys because they're not happy with their body. You know, especially when it's getting close to those puberty years. I don't know about you, but you know,
I find that
last
really.
time I checked, I mean,
lots of girls go through.
how many women are actually happy with their bodies altogether? Period. Ever. I
Well,
mean,
during that time period, tons of girls go through a Tommy girl phase. Lots. They like sports. They like hanging out with the guys. Sometimes they don't get along with the girls, so sometimes they fall back to the guys so they have some kind of companionship. So you end up doing things
I
with the
married a I
yeah.
married a tomboy. She and I work on chainsaws and guns together.
So you know what I mean? Like sometimes that's just how that happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they see themselves as men. I hung out with men a lot growing up. I hung out with my brother's friends. Sometimes I hung out with the boys from the archery club because like when I went with my dad, most of the kids there were boys. So that's what I had. Same with daycare. I didn't really get along with the girls because the girls were really into playing house, but they were very their rules and no other rules. So I didn't hang out with them. I was like, you're a little bit too weird for me. But that didn't mean that I saw myself as a boy. Like there were times where the boys would play games that I just didn't play with them. I would play by myself for those times. That's just how that was because they were into stuff that I just was like, yeah, that's not really my thing. At best, the closest thing to playing with cars for me was Transformers. Legit. Like,
Don't knock Transformers.
I'm
Transformers
not.
are cool.
I loved Transformers. I had favorite characters, but I don't know anything about cars. Just because I like Transformers doesn't mean I know anything about cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, that part of it wasn't what got me to follow it. I really like the voice actors for Transformers. I always
Well,
have. Hmm?
Well, at what point do we just stand back and call this for what it is?
Mhm.
A social contagion.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I get there's I find that a lot of the left, they will take little things from places that they like. I get that theory. I do it too. Like the quote, to raise a child takes a village. And I get that to a certain extent, but not when it's pushing your own views, especially when your views are not really being tested in a way that looks safe or even healthy. Like I feel like the community that they're pushing for, they are burying at the same time. And it is both just annoying to deal with for one thing. I'm not gonna lie. As a regular ordinary person who likes to be kind to other people, I find it really annoying. But at the same time, they're also making people view them as so out to lunch, so demanding, so high maintenance that they're just not worth being around. That's such a negative view of a group of people to have. And they're not like that. On an individual basis, nobody should have that view. And the people who are pushing them the most are the ones making that the view. Like, you are so demanding, it has to be all about you. If it doesn't cater to you, you're going to sue everybody. Everyone's going to be in demand for you. And you can't understand why people are starting to resent you for it. That's not a good look for a community who's asking for, demanding for compassion.
It's not about community, Jen. That's the thing. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
The Marxist handbook demands that we destroy the one fundamental straw to bring in communism back, and that would be the family.
Yep.
And once they break the family, they feel like they've got the keys to the motherfucking kingdom to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And so it's a social contagion that they are using to break the family apart.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Well, even in that sense, breaking the family apart, that's been something they've been doing for, honestly, at this point, the Democrats, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I mean, even down to, splitting apart slave families. I mean, to help break up families. And fast forward to the welfare age, where they would sit and tell women, well, we'll give you this money to help, but you can't be married. If you're married, you won't get as much. Well, they use that to sit and foster the fatherless homes. I mean, even going as far as to the point where even if a woman would sit and say, well, no, I'm not married, and there's still a guy living there, they say, well, he can't live there, and no money for you. So it's it's quite literally harboring and fostering fatherlessness,
Mhm.
a broken home.
Mhm.
So this is only a further, like it or not, they've succeeded in doing that so much in African American or Black households to where it's only a logical term that they start with everybody else now.
Mhm. And that's what they're trying to do. Like it's even the most recent movie that they're pushing, the Red Panda. Like half of what they've got in there is literally the child being defiant to her parents. And I'm really surprised they even pushed that. I'm surprised China even was okay with it because considering how much Mickey's up their butthole. Considering Chinese culture, you're supposed to be obedient to your parents because it means being obedient to the country. Like your parents are supposed to be like, yeah, we're telling you how to do what you're supposed to do. Um, so when they're telling your kids, yeah, you should go to a concert without your parents' permission, knowing that they said no, hide about it, lie about it, and do it so that you can chase a boy, and then
Well,
claim that your mom is just a psychopath because they made her mom an absolute psychopath.
Yeah, but you
well,
wanna know what the number one takeaway from that film is? From everybody that's seen it, that I know that have talked to me about it, they say, "Well, what's so bad about a panda having her period?" I'm like, "It's not about her having her period.
It's
It's
not
about
about her
once
having a period.
again chipping again at the family unit, chipping away at it, where your parents are not the arbiters or the gateway or the pathway to anything. They're in fact the enemies. If you want to be free, you must get away from them. And China would be okay with this because the minute that you get away from the family, you then have to turn to the state. And that's what they want. You to have to look and turn and breathe and pray to the fucking state.
Mm-hmm.
And
say
I had a conversation with my mom, which asked about this, and all they went, "Well, that movie's not that bad, they're not pushing transgender or anything. No, it's just about a panda getting her period." And I'm like, "You clearly didn't watch that movie close enough." When I say vet things before you show it to kids, I don't mean watch it while your eyes glaze over and you do something else and don't pay attention. I mean watch it and pay attention to what's going on in that movie. But nobody that I've talked to have, and so they go, "Well, what do you have against the panda getting a period?" It's like, it's not about that. It's about breaking down the family. It's about keeping secrets from parents. That the only way to really be free and to truly find love is to do so. Kind of sounds like that it's okay to love whoever stuff that they were pushing in the beginning of the gay. I call it now the gay-demic. Because they've gone so far past love who you want to love that you might don't even bother touting the beginning stages of it because we all know where this goes.
I would also point out that it's already been done before. Here's the thing though. That show in context was still considered PG-13 because it was not considered appropriate for minor children.
Yep.
It was called Rama 1/2. Everything that everything that we're trying to push over here, Japan's already done, but they rated it and they put it in context and they gave it a storyline so it made sense. It wasn't just throwing something in there to throw something in there to make it seem like we're being inclusive, when what we're really doing is we're being very ignorant as we cheer on a group that we don't really understand, that's actually been kidnapped by us because we're a bunch of narcissists who think that we know what we're doing to help people. And that's Disney in a nutshell.
In a sense, I mean, now we'll approach this and go ahead and we'll approach this and go ahead and say yes, there's a political standpoint. Now, I personally haven't seen it, so I can't. I actually tried watching it when it first heard all the mess, but part of me keeps expecting Michael J. Fox to show up. But that being said, though, one of the things that happens when they make a show like this with a very, they'll put something in there in such a way to where they can boil it down to the absolute most absurd degree
Mhm.
and say, "Oh, it's just a show about this." Going going for what's quite literally the lowest common denominator.
Mhm.
Now, now take like the two. Well, the one biggest one I can think of pops on the back of my head is Atlas Shrugged. In that sense, Atlas Shrugged, where a proponent, or an opponent of Atlas Shrugged will boil it down to, yeah, this guy made a motor that runs off atmospheric electricity, but in the same sense, there's heavy political standpoints on this: pro LGBT, anti family, pro state, and somebody who wants to be a proponent of this show or in favor of what they're trying to preach on this sense. Like I said, it just boils down to, oh, it's a panda heaven, it's period.
Mhm.
So they're doing it honestly as fodder to those who don't want to get involved in it.
Mhm. People,
Yep.
I would say our generation is really warped for this because there's too many times where adults will use TV or movies just to babysit their kids, and they think, well, I'm in the room. But the amount of times I remember watching a cartoon, and yeah, a lot of them came from Japan, I'm not gonna lie. Those Asians are more willing to draw stuff than we are. There were times where I would watch cartoons where I was like, this is probably not something I would be allowed to watch if my parents actually knew what I was watching. All the time, actually. The amount of times I would stumble upon something, it was just like, yeah, I know I shouldn't be watching this. I know I'm not
Well,
dead
then
from it, but not every kid is me. Like, I knew kids who took things so seriously they thought it was real. Like, the Harry Potter kids are everywhere. Go ahead,
That's good to
Krakra.
Oh,
I interrupted you.
God, them, the Harry Potter kids.
You were
Yeah,
saying they
I don't
really
know.
think it's
I don't
real?
know. See, the unfortunate though is, unfortunately for us, Jen, you and I we're close enough to where we could have been from the same generation, but then we're not. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when it comes to a lot of cartoons like that. Remember, I still grew up in the time. I still grew up in the time where Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's when Saturday morning cartoons were on.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the same sense, afternoon cartoons were on after school from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Afternoon cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons.
Mhm.
If the Saturday morning cartoons or the weekday afternoon cartoons were over, if it was the weekday, that means cartoons are over. Time to go do your homework.
Mhm.
If it's on a Saturday, you know, Saturday morning cartoons are done. Good. Get your ass outside. Don't come back until the damn street lights are on.
Mhm.
It's to where we were out there playing and learning stuff for ourselves, not sitting in front
Well,
of the television waiting
not
for people to tell us what to think.
not necessarily true, Trucker. Actually, there is an instance that I could tell you right now where you would be wrong.
Okay.
What's a cartoon that you reference the most when you're talking
The
to us
cart
in BC?
the cartoon that I reference the most.
Yes.
Okay, which one are you thinking? Because it's hard for me to point out.
I'm thinking Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. Okay.
Okay, so
Bugs
Bugs Bunny.
Bunny.
Okay. Bugs Bunny. All right, there we go. We're all on the same page. Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny
Mhm.
referenced in childlike manner because I can tell you, a young child is not going to know what the heck is in Huck's Finn. But you know what Looney Tunes did? Opened up the world of Huck's Finn to millions of kids that could understand it because it was Looney Tunes.
That's actually a thing, though. I find Looney Tunes are more amusing now that I'm an adult when I watch them because they did include adult humor. It's just it was still appropriate for children.
Yeah, but you don't understand.
Mhm.
Even though you had the outside world, even though you
Mhm.
didn't let them teach you, in a way you did. You just
Mhm.
didn't recognize in what ways, in
Mhm.
what parts. There was a generalized consensus of what common knowledge was and what common information was. And we all had a general consensus as a whole, as a country, about what was appropriate and what was not. And so you could have things like Huck Finn explained to you in Looney Tunes, and
Mhm.
you could trust that institution to do it in an appropriate fashion. Nowadays, you can't. You don't have that.
Mhm.
You don't have
Well, that
common
is
so it wasn't just we got to play outside, but we also had a modicum of cartoons that understood where the line was and fell in line with that line. Now these cartoons are drawing new lines without parental permission.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in a sense, in a sense you're right like that. But then, when it comes to shows like Red Panda and all, at this point, this is an age where the kids growing up, they're glued to their phones, their tablets, laptops, television. They're always watching something.
Mm-hmm.
Where the prime Looney Tune, the prime Looney Tune example, the one that would pop into my head that you're thinking of, it's what was it like Mason Dixon Bunny or something like that? It's one of
Yeah.
the Bugs Bunny cartoons that have actually since been banned
Mhm.
because at one point it's got Bugs Bunny acting like a slave that's about to get whipped, where all of a sudden he's playing that part, throws a whip into Yosemite Sam's hand, and then all of a sudden shows up dressed as Abe Lincoln. Well, that's you're kind of right. It's showing the line on that sense to where that kind of shit's not okay. But in the same, you're right in that sense, in a morality stance. But the thing was, it's still a matter of, out of the Saturday morning cartoons, we would see a cartoon like that maybe once every 3-4 weeks.
Mm.
But then it's still the whole. Here's where it is. Now go outside and here's what the line is. Here's your moral lesson. Now go outside and play. But
But
it would
these
be
institutions have been hijacked and are falling apart. You can't even do that anymore.
that's I mean, and there's part of the problem is when they're always glued to it. When they're always glued to it, it's. I think we're actually kind of agreeing on this, where kids always are glued to that kind of thing, and then they're drawing these lines more over and more over and more over. Truth be known, a parent who doesn't pay attention to their kids, is not going to notice what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now, I'm kind of
at
proud.
that point, that was okay because they were only getting a dose of realities in a sense that a kid could understand. Whereas now, you're like, what in God's name is this?
A cesspool.
They're way the hell over the line in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They've gone to
No,
cesspool
No, I
levels.
agree with it. I agree with you.
Have run away.
That's also why a lot of the parents are, for lack of a better term, they're kind of failing in paying attention to their kids or what their kids is watching, what their kids are doing. I mean, I hate this. I hate to, sound overly proud about this thing, but I realized something when my child was learning to speak. My son now, he knows English, he knows a little bit of Spanish, he knows a little bit of Russian.
Mhm.
Because either his mother or I sat and paid attention to whatever he was watching on television with him.
Mm.
Now his mother can figure out the little bit of Russian that he's learning. I can sit and understand it when he's speaking Spanish. So in a sense like that, we're still doing all right.
Yeah.
But it's the matter of we're paying attention to what he's watching and what he's learning, what he's doing, where a lot of these parents don't.
Mhm.
And it was even to a point where there was a television on HBO back in the late '90s where it's quite literally the example of what we're talking about, where this show was a guy who literally grew up sitting in front of the television. It would go throughout his life and just show clips of these old black and white movies that related to whatever he was doing. And that's kind of what they're gearing everybody, or what they're kind of gearing kids towards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and a lot of parents are used to the way it used to be, where you could trust the television to not co-opt your kid. You could trust the TV for a bit. If you got 3-4 kids and you got to go make dinner for all of them, you could throw it on and walk away and not worry what kind of crap they're filling their heads with. And a lot of people are still under the false impression that they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big wake-up call to go, actually, guys, no, you can't.
No,
My
you
daughter's
can't do that
mom,
anymore.
Yeah.
my daughter's mom is a full-time nurse and homeschooling and like she has all these things on the go. So when she needs a moment to go and cook dinner, she throws on Disney. And her response to me was, well, what's wrong with the panda that gets her period? That distilled talking point where I just smack my forehead with my palm and go, oh, Jesus Christ. Of course you don't get it. You don't spend all your day watching the news like I do because I have nothing going on in my life.
Well,
Now what do you do about that?
that's that ultra pasteurized, dumbed down thing in what we were just mentioning. As far as it's summarized to those who just aren't paying attention enough to where this is what is happening.
At least there was no sex or violence in Super Ted. Thanks, Credible Fred. Thanks for that. Yep, and now Disney's like, we got any employees or employees' kids that want to chop their genitals, we'll pay for the surgery because we're super awesome, aren't we? And I'm just like, no, you're not super awesome at all. At all. Ever. Wilson, shut up. Nobody asked you.
So I think we're gonna change the topic because I think we're running low on it. But I was glad to get it out just because
Fish sticks on pizza, yes or
yeah, no, my brother's being an asshole. But we're gonna switch
Yes,
topics.
we want pizza, sir. We want pizza right now.
Yeah, especially with fish sticks. Yeah. So I'm gonna pull up the first article you gave me, which was the she's picking on me, guys. So I'm gonna have to share this one. So
Yeah, I'm picking on Jen. I'm making her do all the stuff.
that's okay. No, it's not that. It's the article itself. I'm like, oh really?
Oh, is it one of those annoying articles?
Yeah, it's like, oh, why is it my province? Dang it.
Because it's your province.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so let's see if this is working. I don't know. Should hopefully do. Let me go here. And
She's working on it, guys. She's working on it. Everybody go, yay, Jen.
Yay!
I don't know
There we
if
go.
it
Look at that.
It shows Discord. I don't know if it shows the video though.
Well, she was the one earlier talking, doing the when getting ready to start the stream. She's looking for the button to start it, and she's sitting there in that voice, that same voice that you hear go, nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime. To the point where you want to ask Jen, what are you doing? And she says, I'm playing nighttime, daytime. Wanna play?
I'm trying to share it. I don't know how to share it. I don't know how to share it. It's not sharing it. Window capture. Open.
Dum dum dum.
Property.
It's showing something. I just don't know what it's showing.
Yeah, it's just going to the other screen. That's all. I mean, I can read it. I just want to show that.
You can read it. You tease. I'm a product of public education. I don't know how. Anyway.
Do you know how? You
Um,
probably do. I'm showing something.
Trucker doesn't know how. He's a
That's not what I
boomer.
want to show though. Didn't want to show that. Nobody
Keep
sees.
it up, millennial.
You know what? I would rather be a millennial than a boomer. Maybe.
Is it showing it better?
I don't actually know if I trust my conviction with that statement or not, but here we go.
Alright, I just want to see.
Yeah, go eat a Tide Pod.
Taking the Tide Pod Challenge.
Yeah, it did work. Okay, good. Alright, we got it. Alright.
Yay!
As long as it looks normal, that's what's important. Okay, so we're gonna do this real quick. This one is our health minister for our province. So, bleh, stuff that I don't listen to or watch any at all. My brother's in the room, so he doesn't either. I'm gonna inform you about shit that you don't give a shit about. Have fun with that. Hinshaw stumbles around cross-examination in court. Great. Okay. Chief Medical Officer Dina Hinshaw continues to spill the...
Did you hear what I said to you
No?
as your topic of conversation?
No?
Fish sticks on pizza, yes or no?
They said no.
Good
Yeah. So the chief medical
No
officer,
means
Dina.
no.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah. Alright. I'm going to start reading now. Just so we can get this over with. Chief Medical Officer Dina Hinshaw continues to spill the beans on the pandemic fraud perpetuated by the Alberta government as she's cross-examined in court for the fourth day. Over the week, Hinshaw has bumbled around several challenges posed by lawyer Layden Gray of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, JCCF, as part of the civil suit against alleged constitutional rights violations perpetuated by the Alberta government. These deaths, like many others, are by Hinshaw and Kenny's hands. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So Hinshaw has feigned uncertainty throughout the trial regarding the science she used to justify harmful pandemic measures. Ooh, for example, as reported by True North when asked about the over-reporting of death totals by conflating those who die from COVID versus COVID, Hinshaw said it's part of the ongoing checking process and claimed that more time is needed before they can determine anything. Other times, Hinshaw has been vague. Yesterday, she all but conceded that there was no evidence. Masks work, despite the mandates. Well, we could tell. Like, when I find out after 2 years, that the people with the allergies are, like, using their sleeves to clean their faces because harpies are freaking scary. Yeah, it didn't work. Like, I kept picturing people with the alien slime pulling their masks off their face for 2 years.
Stop it! Come on, why? Why would you do that to me? I am a very visual person.
Because that's what it feels like when you pull the mask off. Like when you've worn it for like 10 minutes in winter, and you know that winter causes snot problems, and you get them all year when you have allergies, and you just like, yeah, I'm pulling this mask off, and I feel the slime coming off with it. And we're trying to call somebody out on it, and they're like, just use your mask to smush it around your face. And you're like, you've got issues, man. You got issues if you're
Really
gonna tell me how to deal with my issues.
Well, really, remember the real sad part was at the very beginning they actually said when everybody started talking about wearing masks, they always said, or the same people would agree, K90, or M95 masks or better. Those are the only ones that'll actually help you. But then all of a sudden, governmental agencies and media sources and news news and government agencies would actually sit there and say, "Oh no, you don't need the M95 mask. Just use a T-shirt. Cut up a T-shirt. That'll actually work." Everybody would sit there and say, "No, that doesn't actually work. That won't do anything." And they're saying, "Yeah," and push it in for saying, "Yeah, that it works so long." To where if you try to push it into anybody that the M95 mask was or better was the one you needed, now there's, you're just crazy. And the paranoia is something that they started.
Yeah, they did.
So it's something that they themselves said at the very beginning would not work.
Mhm.
So how can they say anything how can they really say anything with any kind of credibility to the different now?
Well, it's like I argued with this guy on the Twitter about it because he was like, well, what's wrong with just mushing it onto your face? I'm like, bro, this isn't the cold. You've been arguing for the last 2 years that this isn't the cold. So if you know that it's not the cold, then you know that it lasts on surfaces for longer. Your snot, if you had it and you were putting it on your sleeve, got all over the train. And yes, they have people who clean the train, but they're not there all the time. And they don't necessarily go on the trains that have the homeless people who absolutely didn't do any of that shit because they're homeless. They don't give a fuck.
Well, the worst part about that article so far, and you haven't even gotten into the good news
I know.
yet, is where they said, we don't actually know the correct numbers. We're going to need more time to figure that out. I'm like, well, if you didn't know the correct numbers,
Mm-hmm.
then why did you post the numbers?
Right? It makes no sense. I don't get it.
Why would you post numbers you know nothing about?
But,
Well, it was for scare tactics, in which case then I guess it makes sense.
Anyway, I'll keep
That's
going.
precisely why they did it. They posted numbers to fit. They posted the numbers to scare people into their into compliance.
Mm-hmm. Because Klaus still wants more of us to be vaccinated, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but sir, I've had my 2, and I'm done. I'm done with you. You've convinced me to have 2, and that's enough. But anyway, let's keep going. So from the JFFC's report on the hearing, Hinshaw couldn't specify a particular study, eventually causing her to play the "all my colleagues think so" card. Mr. Gray stated that it is unknown whether masking works. Dr. Hinshaw then started to break down the types of masking studies done for individuals, for society as a whole, etc. She said it was important to look at the totality of that evidence. The Justice Center writes, she believes, in her opinion, the evidence supports the use of masks as one non-pharmaceutical intervention. Mr. Gray pointed out that she basically admitted that there is no scientific consensus about the effectiveness of masking. Here, Dr. Hinshaw started qualifying her statement, referring to the beliefs of her colleagues that support her beliefs, indoor settings, broad consensus, etc. Moreover, as Sheila Gunreed from Rebel News earlier reported from the courtroom, Hinshaw ultimately fell back on hospital capacity as the reason for restrictions on everyone. Yeah. Gray, your orders impacted the liberties of 96% of Albertans who were at no risk of serious health outcomes or death. Hinshaw, if the hospitals are overwhelmed, healthy people could be impacted by a knock-on effect if they're not able to access the healthcare system. Earlier this week, Gray also made Hinshaw stumble around her bungling of ICU numbers. Up to this point, Hinshaw has avoided hearings, and now we know why. Because she's been buying the narrative from her colleagues, and I don't doubt that there's money involved. I don't doubt that they've been doing this to push a movement. Because masks, what they actually do is they're very good at controlling people, clearly. Because if you can control the fear of the population, you can control people.
Yep.
And the more I see people throwing their masks off, the more I realize that people are regaining their bravery. They're no longer having to feel shame for, like, you know what, I don't necessarily share your opinion. Or the people who I suspect are just as grossed out by the masks as I am, who are like, how does this fucking work? Because it doesn't. It just doesn't. Some people do not have problems with the mask, and I don't doubt that for those people, they probably maybe help them, but the science isn't settled on that, so maybe not. Maybe it was just performance art, and it made them feel better. Okay. But for everybody else who actually had problems wearing them, you actually physically damaged them. Like skin problems, breathing problems, etc. Like my allergies were so exasperated by that mask, and I shortened it. Like I still wear it for work, and I will. Because I stand by the whole, I get paid $15 to wear that mask. I wear hairnets too. But that mask instigates more snot than just leaving it off. And no antihistamines do not help, because they never really do. They cover some stuff, they never cover everything.
I still have a big problem with it. I still have a big problem with whenever anybody wants to sit and talk about capacity when it comes to hospitals, clinics, stuff like that. Capacity is not how many beds they have. Capacity is how many people they have to take care of patients. You know, they figure one nurse can take care of so many patients. That's what capacity is based off of. And most hospitals run almost to complete capacity at all time. That's how they make money. Now, the thing is, none of these hospitals, when that first started, none of them went on any kind of major hiring spree for nurses. They just insisted that the nurses would handle that much more of a workflow, which now they can sit and say, oh, we're over capacity. So because this one nurse usually handles 4 people and that is now handling 6. So
Yep, and they get more government money.
That they never actually use on hiring nurses. Instead, they went and fired all the nurses for not being vaccinated, even though most of the nurses went through and ended up healing or getting better from COVID and getting a natural immunity.
Yep.
But because they ended up with the natural immunity from it, from being exposed to it, from being constantly exposed to it for months and months and years, that vaccination shots, an untested vaccination shot's not going to do anything for them. But they're going to fire them for not going out and getting the shot, and now scream and moan about, oh, we're so over capacity. Well, you shouldn't have fired everybody.
Yep.
But that's one of the biggest gripes I have when they scream capacity. They'll sit there and say, oh, this is a 400-bed hospital. Yeah, but you only hire enough nurses to handle 100 beds. That is your capacity, 100.
Yep. If they truly were worried about capacity limits, they had a long enough time to build another hospital. 2 years, long enough time to make another hospital.
New York City was a prime example of that. They were all screaming about capacity of hospitals. Donald Trump, floated at least two, was it one or two hospital ships into their dam, up the damn river to them, and then built one in the middle of some park, and had some emergency one in the middle of some park, throughout the whole, and had them staffed throughout that whole situation. What did they handle? Maybe a dozen people. So apparently capacity is not that big of a deal. It's either that or Cuomo basically said, okay, all these people can die to fuck Trump.
Sorry.
What's up, Jen?
Trying to share the right video and it's not doing it. Okay, let's just go here. Oh, I don't want to donate to you. Go away.
But I will say it's nice that Canada's basically pulling the same horse shit that the U.S. did.
Yeah, because when you guys get a cold, we get cancer. Yeah, Wilson, I know you agree. Buddy, go away. Nobody wants to hear you meow. Actually, wait, people might want to hear you meow, but no. What a waste. Agreed. Credible threat. Agreed. Wilson, get out of here. No. No.
How do I get OBS to stop showing the multi-screen and just show the one?
Well, when you go into Windows Capture, you grab the Chrome that you have to have the article up, so it's the one that's showing.
Mm-hmm.
You go into Window Capture, go to Chrome, and then it should bring up what you're currently viewing on Chrome. Or if you don't use Chrome, whatever browser you're using.
Okay, there we go. All right. Hoping it does it. I don't think it did. All right.
That looks like you're using display capture.
I'm trying to get it to do
If
something.
you're using display capture, that means it's viewing your display. So if you have display capture and you see the windows going on forever.
Yep, that's basically what I'm trying to get rid of.
No, keep that on, because then you click on the next, when you go and click back on your article, it'll directly go to that.
Okay, but I'm trying to get it to directly.
Just make sure to open the right window, not that naked picture you sent your boyfriend that we saw earlier.
That's not helpful.
Go back to the window where you can see Discord. Like when you click on it and you see Discord and you see the windows going on forever. Once you see the windows going on forever, click OK and then pull up the article.
Okay, and then that one? Is it?
And then pull up the article.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go. You
All
got
right,
it.
does it look normal, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Blue. I'm trying really hard to get to do this right, so it's smooth and doesn't look shitty.
You're doing good. You're doing
Someday I will be a pro, and then you guys will be like, "Oh, look at Jen, she's a pro." Oh my. All right. Are we ready for the next article?
Of course.
All right. Black conservative speaker escorted from your university campus after left-wing mob attacks because we can't handle people with differing opinions, even though we claim to be fighting for them. We cannot listen to them speak because then we will mass free.
Well, leftists have a big problem. And the problem is, what they really want to say is, we support black leftists. But if they say that, people would not back that. So then they want to say, we support black people. But they really don't support black conservatives. But they can't say that out loud because that's the quiet part. So
Well,
they're
hell,
actually in the corner.
prime example of that down here was what's that guy's name? Tom Woods
Mm-hmm.
Like that?
voted against Ketanji Brown Jackson,
Yes.
and Joy reads that and called him racist because of it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter that you're black; it's that you don't agree with them. Period.
Pretty much. That's basically it. They will take any angle to get you to agree with them. But anyway, we're going to talk about Alan West, who's a retired U.S. Army lieutenant, colonel, and former representative. He was at the university.
Did you just say colonel?
Yeah,
Yes,
colonel.
Yes, she did.
I'm
It's all
sorry.
wrong.
And
It's
former
fine.
representative.
Colonel.
Well, you know,
Oh,
you're going to have to eat it. You know what? You could just
I
share
voted-
this with Scribe and make him twitch more than you.
I voted for him in 2008.
All
He
right.
ran in 2008 for president. I voted for him.
Well, I don't know anything about him, but I mean, if you voted for him, he's probably pretty cool. But anyway, he was at the university to give a lecture. America is not racist. Hey, that's a positive thing. You know, if he thinks it's not, then you know what? Let's give him a shot. So
America as a whole isn't.
it shouldn't be. So on Thursday evening, a speaker at a Young Americans Foundation (YAF) event at the University of Buffalo was forced to be escorted by police outside the event as a mob of protesters swarmed, which has also chased a conservative student earlier in the evening. Of course they did. Ellen West, a black retired U.S. Army lieutenant, colonel. Did I say it right?
Colonel.
Colonel.
Think kernel of corn.
But why is it not spelled like that?
Because English is retarded.
Because it's America.
Okay. So Lieutenant Colonel and former representative was at the university to give a lecture titled "America is Not Racist." I'm sorry, I just one of those things where I'm like, whenever I see something not spelt the way it should sound, I question our forefathers. So anyway, the video taken at the conclusion of the event, obtained by YAF, shows police escorting West through the crowd, which chanted "No justice, no peace," and I'm black and I'm proud. West was reportedly escorted by the officers back to his hotel in a squad car. That's really sad. On the day of the lecture, students took part in a walkout during the school day, with others reportedly planning to infiltrate and disrupt the evening's event. Of course they would, because you can't have something on your lawn that you don't have control over, which honestly you could just ignore. You should have just ignored it.
To be fair, most of chances are they're planning on disrupting, and they're basically probably planning on disrupting and being little pains in the asses for that gathering to begin with, just because it's Young Americans for Freedom, long before Alan West showed up into the picture.
I don't...
The Young Americans for Freedom, they're the ones who kept trying to have Ben Shapiro all over the place.
Yeah.
And all that shit kept going down.
Yeah, and Ben Shapiro still does it. He just hires his own personal staff.
Well, I don't think they understand that for him it's free promotion, because a lot of us watch it just it's kind of like a weird form of WEF in a way, with a bunch of dumbasses from college coming at him like he's, you know, you could literally have a conversation with the guy, learn something, and have him walk away maybe knowing a little bit more about the conversation. But because they go in there with like the hot-headed, I'm just angry all the time, it comes across as like the nerd version of WEF.
Essentially, yes.
So people end up
Yeah.
watching it with popcorn because they're more amused by it than anything else. But I'm giving them way too much. Oh my god, it works!
Well, the prime
Lucky Charms
I mean,
donation. I would love for
the
you to
prime
shove a
example is
chicken up my
something
bum.
Donation.
That
It'll be the first cock I had today.
It works, PG. You got some dick.
I got dick.
You got dick.
Uh-oh.
It's $5 penis, but you got dick.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. What the... Oh, shit. I'm gonna have to go and find that and fucking read it.
Go
now.
ahead, Chucker. You can keep going.
Oh, no.
I think it's kind of wild. Not many people recognize this. Folks on the left sure as hell don't recognize this kind of thing. But it's kind of weird where the people who would show up and do their best to disrupt these kind of gatherings, they'll sit there. One of the things they'll scream the most often is fascist. You know, oh, you're a fascist, 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 fascism, fascism, without realizing that
That's what
as
they
much
are.
as they'd like, and that's the thing, is as much as they'd like to say it isn't, fascism is not actually a political stance. Fascism is a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a tactic to enforce a political stance. But they don't realize that the people who brainwash them into thinking anybody who doesn't agree with them is a fascist, they conveniently leave out the fact that threats of force, disruption, not allowing an opinion.
Lucky Charms donation. I would love for you to shove a chicken up my bum. It'll be the first cock I had today.
Please tell me you read that.
It did. You don't have to read the dick.
Ah.
It wasn't even a dick, it was a chicken. Like, you didn't even use a proper cock, because a chicken is not a cock. I just thought you should know that.
No, I just found something really awesome. If I click the redonate button, it says it all again, and I don't have to do it because I didn't want to suggest shoving cock up Big Dro's ass. By the way, that's gross, dude. Thank you, but that's gross.
Yeah, for the record, YouTube, don't penalize me for saying that, because we're referring to the bird, which is a male chicken. It's referred to as a cock. I know that they just like to hear me say the word cock, but we all know that I'm
Well,
talking
that's
about the bird.
That actually tends to be the usual go-to for any definition of a male fowl of any kind.
Right?
'Cause, yeah.
But I know that the reason that they want me to say it is because of the other word.
Either way, hen or cock, man, what a pecker. Anyway,
Okay, so according to the YAF, the lecture went through peacefully, but activists attempted to take over the Occupy and Q&A session, which that's usually when they do it. He used the time to hijack the conversation and insult West, which is totally what you should do with a black person that you're supposed to listen to, right, with respect, so that you can understand where they're saying and where they're coming from. Protesters of the event also attempted to break down the doors to the reception that followed the event. Oh yeah, that's great. Let's just act like we're not invading a space, as though you guys weren't bitching about, like, January 6th for months. Like, that's not what you thought that was. Okay, you know. Additional footage.
January 6th, where the first person just got acquitted yesterday.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Oh, God.
Lucky Charms donation. I think my definition of a cocktail is wrong. Should I have tucked in the talons before I put on my pants? It was a bit hard to sit down. We'll do it again. 0.10 out of 10.
Yeah, and you know what? Big Bird's imaginary friend was a giant mammoth that nobody else could see. So have fun with that.
Ah, God.
You're welcome.
Ah, God damn it. And Big Drew, dude. Dude, both of God. Why? Why? Dude. Gross. Fucking gross.
All right. So, additional footage of the event showed protesters gathered in the hallway outside where the lecture was taking place, screaming chants and hopes to drown out West because that's what we do with black men. Oh, well, they had about a black kids there. Kids who maybe could hear a differing point of view, but why educate them? Why not rile them up to think that any other point of view is different? That's clearly the enemy. One female student who was chased by the mob into the men's bathroom told YAF she was scared for her life. I am unbelievably disturbed that I was chased by a leftist mob, scared for my life on my college campus, all for hosting Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. See, I did it right. A conservative speaker said, Teresa Purcell, I was aggressively chased by about 200 angry protesters and had to hide in a men's bathroom from screaming leftists who were searching for me. The assault on free speech at university at Buffalo by an angry mob is incredibly unacceptable. It really is. It really kind of is. YAF program officer for campus advancement, Gianna Milero, who was on site during the event, called the scene a pandemonium. At many times throughout the night, I was legitimately worried about West and the students' physical safety due to the angry mob berating and banging on the doors. I'm even wondering how many of these students are actually from that school, because they do that a lot. She told YAF. And that is the end of that article. And that is such a cute puppy. Look at that puppy. Look at that puppy. Just look at that puppy. Anyway, I'm gonna switch articles.
That is just sad that kids these days, they can't even just go, they can't tolerate even speech they don't like to just simply be spoken. They don't even have to be in the room. Just knowing that the speech is near them is enough. And I'm like, and you are not going to make it in life.
Mm-hmm. Because it's amazing how many times I've encountered people. We got a donation!
Lucky Charms donation. Cock 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 cock. I want cock.
Clearly.
Oh, God.
There's this thing called
Therapy?
a horror.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, they're called hookers. I know it's kind of hard to wrangle the money nowadays to help yourself with your problems, but if you're that hard up for some, you got $50. Somebody wants a rock.
Well, to be fair, when it comes to actual hookers, I mean, the price is getting kind of steep. Hell, the most famous hooker right now, well, she ended up having to get a job over it. She's now vice president. Just saying. So, should I be glad I'm not actually hearing these?
Yeah, although, I mean, it is rather, I mean, yes, you should.
Okay.
If you want, I can repeat the last one. I'm not offended. It's just basically cock 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 cock.
Oh, like a cocking gun?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
Wait, and the text to speech actually read that?
Mm-hmm.
I thought your voice to speech doesn't read curse words.
Well, it was spelled like a cocking gun.
Hmm.
Cat?
All right. So now that I get a gist of this one, Sherist can kiss my ass. Like, I get that you're from Quebec and you're trying to pull Quebecois to your side, but going after Polivier is probably not your best plan. I don't even think you're on the list of people that people are looking at, unless they're from Quebec, because Nobody outside of Quebec knows who the fuck you are. Sorry. Another donation. Another donation.
Oh,
Lucky
no.
Charms
Oh, God.
donation.
Oh,
Since
why?
shoving chickens up one's rear
Oh,
end is
why?
taboo now, would a
Oh,
gerbils
wait, I
be
know why.
okay?
'Cause you guys
It can
are
claw me
freaking
from the
nuts.
inside and make me feel like a 18-year-old virgin getting my cherry popped.
Yeah, no.
Big Joe, get some therapy.
For real. But right, we're gonna get into this article real quick. So I'm sorry. This is totally my thing. So I'm not sure if I'm necessarily for Poilievre, but I'm willing to hear him out because there's very few options that we have. Do I think he's an option that comes with other things? I do. He might be. But at this point, but it's just one of those things where sometimes you have to pick your battles where you've got them, and if it gives us some time, it gives us some time, which is more than what that we don't have a lot of things right now. So I'm keeping my options open at all times, but there's that one. So anyway, Cheris criticized Poilievre over his support for the Freedom Convoy because showing support for your citizens who vote for you is clearly a no-no. Another donation.
Oh, Jesus.
Lucky Charms donation. You guys are just jealous that I've been through more cock than a Popeyes.
No. No. I feel like I should be offended on behalf of all those chickens that you're violating, Big Dro. Because chicken should be done on a plate with, like, garlic butter. Or, like, you know, honey lemon sauce. Something that's worthwhile. Shoving it up your butt just seems like a waste of food. Also, stop playing with your food. That's disgusting.
Right, like, didn't your parents ever teach you not to play with your chicken?
What the
Like,
hell am I missing?
They're shoving
foul up
cocks
their butt. It's a butt foul. What in your butt with feathers?
That is just gross. So gross.
He's also confusing male chickens with female chickens because one of them is a chicken and one of them is a male bird. I know they lay. I know they're related because they make other baby chickens and stuff. But you know, I'm just saying the chickens you get on the shelf are not usually the men. No, the males become chicken nuggets. That's what happens to the males. Anyway, let's get on with the article before Big Joe donates again. Conservative leadership candidate Jean Charest criticized Pierre Poilievre on Friday, claiming that the veteran MP encouraged lawlessness by voicing support for the Ottawa Freedom Convoy. And I'm like, no, actually, on multiple occasions, he asked them to tone it down. In fact, he was like, hey, if you do have people who are like, you know, the guys holding the flags and stuff, maybe kick them out. I recall on many occasions where he did that. Do you? I recall seeing that, BG. Maybe I'm crazy.
I didn't do so much of that, to be honest. That's my bad.
Alright, well, maybe it's just me. But I know that I saw him speaking out against it. He was in support of the convoy because he's in support of the people who vote for him having the right to protest. And those protesters weren't doing a lot of the shit that you're claiming that they did. And if you were really on their side, sir, you would know that. Watch some more videos. Anyway, laws are not a buffet table. If you're a legislator from which you choose what you want, because what you're really saying to people is, I'm above the law. No, he's not. Cheris told the media, referring to Poilievre directly. So those people weren't legally allowed to protest, is what he's also saying. Okay. You can't be a leader of a party and the chief legislator of the country as prime minister and supporting people breaking the laws. That disqualifies you. Cheris continued his thought, according to CTV News Ottawa. And if you want to be a leader in this country and a legislator, you can't make laws and break laws, said Cheris. I don't recall him making any of those laws, nor do I recall him breaking any of those laws, nor do I recall anybody there actually breaking any of those laws. I saw cops attacking people, though.
I felt attacking people.
Polivier has made himself sorry. Polivier has himself made his position clear on the issue previously. He has We got another donation.
Lucky Charms
dear.
donation. Take me, Dro. I'm all lubed up and ready for you.
Wow, Cryptic, that's quite a confession. That sounds like you were confessing to Big Dro there. I'm a little confused. Anyway, speaking on the fact.
I'm not doing anything. What the hell?
That wasn't cryptic. That was cock.
Oh, it was a caught. Oh boy, we got a new we got a new donator. All right.
I was gonna say, actually,
Wait, you guys forgot to tell me that I donated $5 to myself. You guys are just jealous. I've been through more cock than a Popeyes, which isn't funny.
That is funny.
Speaking on the fact
I
that
think I would have said it KFC, but okay. KFC is more of an international. What's that?
I'm not black.
Well, you have to be black to like KFC?
Yes,
That's kind of racist.
I'm native. I can't be racist.
I like KFC. What does that make me?
you're Jamaican-y. Yes, if that
Do
didn't
what?
sound retarded to everybody, it should have.
Little bit.
I said you're Jamaican-y. Just so it was just so wrong that anyone from Jamaica would be like, wait, what? What? Where?
See, the bad part is now I'm just sitting here thinking of BG dancing around her apartment going, love that chicken from Popeyes.
Never had it.
You know, I didn't even know their slogan until you just said that.
Yeah.
Uh,
KFC would have
It
been a
is-
better one, actually, because we would have recognized it more. You're not wrong.
Popeyes is.
It sounds like good chicken. I'm just saying we don't actually have a lot of locations up here.
It's a chicken joint with a semi pseudo Louisiana theme.
Okay. So a little bit of a spice to it, a little kick to it.
We
Sometimes.
had a Popeyes open up, and I can tell you that a lot of our interestingly colored skin Canadians lined up around the block for it. I'm like, dude, you live in Canada. It's not like we don't have chicken around here, eh?
Well, we'll say the chicken sandwiches are pretty good. Some dude not far from where I'm from actually ended up stabbing somebody over a chicken sandwich when they were first introduced. Have a good night, TC.
Have a good one,
Night,
TC.
TC.
Thanks for watching us. Appreciate ya.
Fox, you missed it. You missed all the talk about caulk.
All right. So we're gonna finish this article because I think I'm almost on it anyway. But speaking on the fact that Cherish is still quite far behind Polivier in the polls in the race for the reins of the Conservative Party, he commented, I'm the underdog in this race, and you know what? I've been the underdog all my life, so I don't mind being there. It's a place I recognize. Cherish has come under fire by Polivier and others for many issues, such as the fact that he previously held a position with Chinese military-backed Huawei. Yeah, I can understand why they're focusing on him, because he might be one of those old guard.
Oh, shit.
Lucky Charms donation. Yo. All you mofos need to know. Big Dro is my bottom bitch. Come at me with offers below my price. I will cut you $10 an hour and we can talk.
Yeah.
Big Joe is my bottom bitch. Okay. I don't need to come
Okay.
up with you with offer. You can have him. The Big Joe can be your bottom bitch for life, boo.
You could have an orgy with Scotty. You could have a threesome with the three of you.
Oh, Jesus.
Boys
Christ,
Club.
that's-
Boys Town. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember that reference.
Oh, God, why?
Oh boy.
You know that reference too. Everybody's got to have a Boys Town, just like they always have to have a Chinatown.
You're not wrong.
So how is everybody doing tonight? You know, you suffered through our Canadian articleness, eh? You were like, oh my god, all this Canadian shit, man, eh?
Now I just want to vomit.
You know, and it's amazing because Canada's on the verge of like summer. I've made 10 like don't count on that yet, eh? We still haven't hit 6th winter yet. But you know,
Okay, shut it.
Fiji's already
I'm still
cursing me.
trying to
She's like, don't give me your winter. Go ahead.
I'm still trying to replace that popped fuse for Colonel.
Sorry, Colonel. I've always seen the spelling and been like, really? Is it really pronounced that way? And my brain just rejects it. It's just like, why are you not? Please just spell you the way you sound, please. For my stupid head brain. But they won't, so I'll just have to remember.
Yep, you will just have to remember how to say Colonel.
So, Cryptic wants a 2.5 foot long penis. Got it.
Oh, Steve must be in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, just give him the 2.5. It'll be so much easier for you, bud. Like, you know, we're all sick of hearing it. Just give him the 2.5, man.
But if you do, you should go with the loaf of bread instead, but get like multigrain. So it's like super lumpy and bumpy and kind of a little bit sharp. And he's just like a little bit unsure whether or not he's comfortable with it anymore.
I'm already unsure whether I'm uncomfortable with this anymore. You know, I feel like.
And I know it doesn't work like that, but you can tell him that you're just helping to replant the world. Make it a better place.
There's nothing okay with any of this.
No, there isn't. Hi, Steve. How you doing? How was your work? I probably shouldn't be announcing your name like that because that's called doxing, and I'm a bad person. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but his screen name is Steve.
Steve the Moose. You know what? If I say Steve the Moose, nobody will know a damn thing because there's probably a ton of Steve the Moose. No.
So because you didn't say the Moose and you just said Steve, you doxed him. But if you had said Steve and then the Moose, you would have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because then it makes me seem like I'm talking to a cartoon character rather than necessarily, you know, Steve. Steve from somewhere. I don't really think I'm doxing you with that either, because you know how many Steves there are in North America? Like, look through the phone book. Steve who?
Which reminds me, Cryptic, do you have to kick Steve and Trucker in the balls for the Old Bay pork? Or did it taste fine?
Do what?
Cryptic was putting Old Bay on meat to marinate it, and he said if it tastes like shit, he's going to kick you and Steve in the nuts. Which I would love to see him do that, because watching an Asian run is rather funny.
I don't think he can kick that high.
Thanks, Big Dro. I try not to be a bad person, but I admit I have a dark sense of humor. It's dark. It's like, okay. Behaving itself.
And Cryptic says, yes, his damn name is Stephen M.
Wow.
Alright, so I...
Oh, Big Dro, Big Dro, Big Dro. You are so innocent. Old Bay goes on everything.
Old Bay Park was 5'10". Sure. I gotta talk to you about that, though, at some point, Mr. Cryptic, because I somehow managed to get my mom convinced it was okay to let me get some pork side. You know? Cut of pork side, so I got some nice pork belly. And she's like, what are you gonna use with that? I'm like, I'm gonna grill it on a pan. I'm not using kimchi, though. I have standards. I'll use some cabbage. I've got regular cabbage, but I'm not a fan of the kimchi. I'm not a fan of sauerkraut either.
How dare you?
It's just something about the texture and it being a little bit too sour for me, but I do appreciate the idea of the stew. So I am going to go with that idea. I'm just going to go with regular cabbage, but I'm going to have to fish him for some more ingredient ideas because I think a stew with just pork and cabbage sounds kind of boring. My mom said onions, which is obvious. I'll add onions. And I'll put a flare of garlic because I like garlic. I'm wondering if I should do other things. Don't kill me with the
Yes.
chili peppers.
Yes, Big Dro, even on beef.
Yeah, beef. Oh, my mom just told me that. I had to salivate a little bit because she was like, and I am rubbing it in, and I don't care, but she's got us prime rib for Easter, and I'm like, prime rib? I'm a poor person. For me, beef is like ground beef, you know? So I can make like meatloaf and shit, and like, oh, that's okay. But having real meat, like a steak, something that's like a steak, oh my god. Oh, that's like when you talk lobster with BG and she's all like, ooh, I want lobster. I want some crab.
Oh God, now I want lobster. Thanks.
Sorry. Well, for me, prime rib, that's prime rib for me. I'm like, ooh, I get the haunch of a little bit of cow. Yes. Yeah, I know you could marinate me, but I wouldn't let you marinate me because it'd be something weird. Like
It would be something weird.
it'd be something like sparrow spit, and I'd be like, no, thank you.
Ew. Fuck.
Just so you know, there's a thing in China called dragon's tears, and it's made from a nest, from a nesting bird that they use their spit to make.
Oh, that's what the fuck.
And it looks like a soup.
Just what the fuck.
I know way too much about certain things that I shouldn't. Just because people
Yes,
offer
thank.
people offer to feed me this shit. I don't know what it is. It's like they want to see my expression when they hand it to me. I'm like, I'm not eating that. Don't waste your time. If you're a professional chef and you're making something with ingredients that takes somebody climbing up a cliff to get it, don't waste it on me. Because I'm just gonna laugh at you.
I got a great idea. Just don't get it. Period.
Right? The birds need it more than we do. But you know what? I will totally go for some pork belly because that sounds normal. My ancestors totally went after boars too. I'm just saying that the leap from a boar to a pig that's a little bit easier to handle made a lot of sense.
Pork belly is just raw bacon.
I know, right? I am aware. I've just never had it. Like, I've never had unsmoked bacon before, so I'm just curious on how it tastes. And I like bacon. Who doesn't like bacon? Like, who in the chat? Like, if I said F in chat for bacon, no one's gonna really do that because that's like a fail, and bacon doesn't fail unless you're Muslim or Jewish or
I
allergic.
I smoke pork belly for my wife, and she goes out and buys this one specific type of barbecue sauce for it.
Oh yeah.
Down here, you can get apple butter based barbecue sauce.
Oh, that sounds good. I understand it right
Oh
away.
yeah,
Just the name alone is
Oh, yeah.
like, oh.
apple butter barbecue sauce. Oh yes.
Like, I almost think that if you wanted to make a habit of just feeding the pigs apples as much as they wanted, I recommend it because apples with pork is just like, that and maple syrup.
And a bit of cinnamon.
Well, you could do the cinnamon. Cinnamon's good too. I like maple syrup too. You know, I would probably do a mix of both, like a little bit of the apple and then a little bit of the maple. It's like bacon pie, bacon apple pie. You know what? I could probably sell that to the liberals as something like foo-foo food, like an apple pie with like bacon in it. Why hasn't nobody done that? I'm on YouTube and I'm giving ideas that somebody's going to totally steal, who's actually got a talent in like the kitchen, and then they're going to rip my idea and sell it to rich people and make more money than me.
Tell you what, here's an idea for. Here's an.
Continue those hopes and dreams.
Right? I got to talk to, you know who I should talk to? I should talk to Satsu, because if anybody's going to make money off of my ideas, I'll give them to Satsu. Because I like his little girl. I think she's cute.
All right, try this one for you. Get yourself a good German, actual German bratwurst.
Mm.
Not the Johnsonville ones,
Mhm,
right? The actual German style bratwurst.
Mhm.
Slit them lengthwise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Split them open lengthwise. Stick your finger down in there and make some space in there. Some fill that space up with shredded cheese.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Then wrap it in bacon.
Okay.
Use the toothpick to hold the bacon in place, and either smoke it until crispy, or throw it in a frying pan with a couple drops of liquid smoke.
Or just barbecue it.
Same thing.
Because I just eat it off the grill from what it is like that. Yeah, sure, why not?
Well, you live in an apartment, so it was kind of why I was kind of being hesitant about how to.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Add
I
wire.
don't even have a barbecue. Like I've got a little setup that I kept last year for it's technically for camping, but it's small enough of a unit that I could use it here. It's just my
It's a hibachi.
yeah, basically. But it'll at least give me something that's like a barbecue, which is more than what I've had in a while. But you know what I'm really hoping to do at some point is I'm hoping to find somebody with a vehicle in my town to take me camping so I could go properly cook something over a campfire. So there's no proper cooking with campfires, and we all know this. We're all adults, we've all gone camping, but there's something about a sausage on a stick cooked over a campfire and then done on a hot bun. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit toasty if you're talented with it.
I've done the hot dog on a stick in a campfire lots.
Mm-hmm. There's just something so nice about the rusticness of it. I don't know if maybe the extra flavor from the stick that's probably not even clean. But I mean, we had
I was
metal
a
ones, so.
I was a Boy Scout. That shit was a staple of my diet every goddamn weekend over most summers.
Mm-hmm. Cryptic's like giggity sausage on a stick. I don't really think you want your sausage on a stick, Cryptic. I mean, I can understand a sausage on a stick, but not your sausage on a stick. That sounds painful. Don't stick things up your dick. Monkey told me that.
Yeah, don't stick things up your dick. That's not okay, I guess, dude. Like my guy.
So sounded sausage. Gotcha.
That was advice from Monkey. He told me this a couple years ago. Yeah, don't stick shit up your penis. I think Scribe added to that too. Like, yeah, don't stick stuff up your penis. Your pee hole is better off without stuff up it.
Yeah, it's exit only.
Unless it's a pill. I feel bad for you if you have to do that in your dude, because I don't have that, and I can imagine that still sucks. Have you had to do that? Have you ever had to do that, Trucker? I'm not meaning to ask you personal stuff, but you're a kid. You had shit that you had to do that was up holes that you wish you didn't have to go.
Why is this a topic of discussion?
I don't know. I blame Cryptic. I'd say blame Cryptic because he's sticking his sausage on a stick.
We'll just say there are certain medical tests a guy will, it's a good idea that a guy will have to go to once or twice in his life.
Yeah.
That involves a Q-tip going up somewhere other than your nose.
Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, I don't know why I thought there was a pill for it. Like, I know there's one for when you have the poops and shit, but that's across the board. You don't have to be a male for that one. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a man. I don't have a penis. I've never had a problem with a penis, but I still, yeah. We're gonna change subjects. It's fun. I've had my fun. Thank you for letting me have fun at your expense for a few seconds, Chucker. Someday you'll get a revenge,
Just on Christ.
Oh no. Oh no, Red. That's weird. No. Sausage on a stick with marshmallows and chocolate. No. Okay, listen, if you want to do like the meat version of a s'more, I'm all for that. But make it a meat version of a s'more. Like, go with the Ritz cracker. or like something that's more like, you know, can go from fruit to meat. You cook your sausage with your cheese, and then you put it on your crackers. That I get. You know, the sausage s'more. I want s'more sausage, Trucker. Would you like some s'more sausage? But regular s'more should just be chocolate and marshmallows. And I know people go for graham crackers because they're weird, but you can use any cookie you want. Actually, just so you know, it works with any kind of cookie, and it upgrades it instantly.
Oh yeah, instant upgrades. It's totally what we're looking for here.
For s'more, yeah. Chocolate, marshmallow, good cookie. Graham crackers are okay cookies, they work. But you know why they used them? It was because they were making that shit during, like, World War II and stuff. You know, graham crackers are cheap crackers. Cheap cookies. They help you poop. They help you poop. You use them to make pie crusts. Use a good cookie. Imagine like a really good chocolate chip cookie, marshmallow, chocolate cookie. Upgrade. I'm not
Yeah.
a genius. Other people have done it. I think I offended at least one American who's like, fuck you, I love my graham crackers. I don't dislike graham crackers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's better cookies.
That's because graham crackers aren't really a cookie, but
That's why they're called a graham. But they're a sweet cracker, so I mean you can consider it something like a cookie. They help you poop and you use them to make a pie crust. I know I'd eat that. Well, you would, Big Joe. Like most pie, like there's lots of pie crusts that use graham crackers. They use Oreo cookies too, you know. I really should get back into cooking and baking and stuff. I just don't. I will probably end the stream probably shortly, but you know what? I am gonna make you both hungry with the last thing I made, because yeah, that yellow cake was fantastic. Upside down peach cobbler with like a kind of toasty marshmallow icing, because I didn't have icing. It was probably one of the best cakes I've ever had. Yolks are the way to go. If you want moist cake, use egg yolks.
or in my wife's case, applesauce.
That would work
It'll
too.
work.
Sorry, repeat
Well,
that.
applesauce
Vicky.
I
work.
have an interesting question for the both of you.
Mhm.
What in God's name is a fucking hot cake?
It's
Pancake.
It's a kind of pancake.
Really?
Yeah, so honestly, the difference between names of pancakes usually has to do with the reference of the batter type, what's in the batter type, and the thickness of the pancake. So you can get technically a crepe that's a pancake, because the batter that they used is more like a pancake. Batter is really the difference and thickness.
Okay, I was really just asking for Matt Walsh's sake, because he's like, so like hot cakes. Actually, what's a hot cake? And I'm like, that's a great question. But now that you said pancakes, I went, wait a minute, I already knew that.
Mhm.
Why the fuck did I even ask that question?
Mm. I don't know. You want to, Jen? Would you like an interesting one then?
Sure.
Ever hear of a Johnny cake?
I think I have. I'm just not sure. I might want to Google that.
Imagine a pancake made out of cornbread.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. That actually be
It's good stuff.
Yeah, actually, I could see that. Yeah, because corn is a sweet grain, so yeah, I could see that being really good. I've also heard of oat cakes. Like I've seen them do something similar with oats. Because you can refine oats into more of a flour than necessarily what they are. And make them into a hot cake too, or just keep them as they are and make a hot cake from it. I'm just not as talented at keeping things from clumping, so I tend to not do that. There's techniques to things. You would never know that I was able to make my own meringue for my cake by my own hands. Like my mom's like, you've got a mixer. Why didn't you use your mixer? And I was like, well, I was doing it by hand, and I was effectively doing it by hand. And I was like, do you know how much skill that takes? I didn't do it like
Yep.
this either. That's how you toss a salad very badly. If I ever toss a salad like this, just know I'm getting paid to do it.
Somebody clip that, please. Somebody clip that, please, and then explain to her what the hell that means in American.
Something naughty?
Please,
Yes,
somebody-
I know. I know it's something naughty, you dirty old man. That's why I did it.
Please, somebody clip her
My
saying that she.
cleverness, sir. Okay. Red's got the flapjacks, or yeah, flapjacks are the ones with oats. Yeah.
Shut up, Wilson. I'm busy.
See,
No.
this will be Jen's tossing salad moment. You know where.
Where you explained that you get paid to toss salads. Yeah.
Thanks.
I have legally.
Anyway,
It wasn't even at a Hooters.
so you've been married.
No. I worked at a grocery store. I tossed a lot of salads. Fruit salads, Greek salads, regular salads, mixed vegetable salads, pasta salads. I used to sneer at their potato salad because it came in a box. It still does. We all know it. It has for years.
What the?
I do know that your version is naughty though. I have a talent for picking naughty names, and I don't even watch porn. I don't even know porn names, but I will say something and a dude will just be like, I'm like, I'm used to it. But see, Red gets it. She's like inclusive salad tossing. You know, my favorite salad to make is the one I don't eat. It's a tomato salad. It's just a tossed tomato salad, but it's really about the dressing. You could do it. It's the same thing. You could do the same thing with a cucumber, but it's a vinaigrette, and usually it has garlic, onions, salt, pepper, oil to vinegar, water ratio. It's a basic salad. I like to hype it up with a little bit of mayo just because I'm extra like that, and I'll throw in red peppers. And you just add your tomatoes to it. And how it works is it's better the next day. Like, you can eat it right then, it's still good, but it's always better the next day because the sauce that you just made tends to pickle it just a little bit. Not enough to pickle it all the way, but enough to give it that kind of poppy texture, feeling, taste. It's a good salad. But I also like it because it's versatile. Because if you only have enough for so much, you can make like a fresh bruschetta, or if you wanted to make a salsa with it, you can make a salsa with it. It's a versatile salad, but you can do the same thing with cucumbers, and then it's like a pickle salad, but not really a pickle salad because cucumbers. I miss cooking. My brother misses eating. He should clean the kitchen because he's got dishes all over my sink. Fucker. I have a resentment right now for tuna. Do you know what he did to me? He left it in a
Made
bowl in
you
the
eat
sink
tuna?
for 2 days.
Jesus Christ.
So my apartment stinks of tuna. Could you imagine how nuts your cats would be right now if they smelt that?
They don't really care for tuna either. I don't
No,
really
really?
blame them.
No, I could see if Wilson being a little bit of a stinker, because he seems to be a sneaky cat. Like, he's a fun guy. I like him, but Ozzy seems to be the one who's just like, he's like, Mom, I'm a little extra. Can you be a little extra for me? I'm the nicest cat you got.
Yeah, well, they're both kind of stinkers in their own just beautiful way of cats.
Oh my. Jen, have you ever tossed any salads that included moose meat? No. Actually, my mom has a head cheese recipe, though.
Oh, god damn it, why? What is wrong with all of you?
It's my mom's from Austria, and they do a lot of cold meats. Sandwich meat. It's a sandwich meat.
That is not cold meat. You know what that is? That is an abomination to society.
It's just face meat with a little bit of gelatin from the hooves and some seasoning, and you know what? It goes downhill from there, BG. Did you know they have it with blood? It's like a blood sausage, but it's head cheese.
Thank you.
You're
You know,
welcome, you're
I
welcome.
will never eat food again.
You're welcome. They say it adds flavor. It makes it a little bit more salty, with a little bit of iron kick to it. But apparently Red thinks that Steve likes his salads with whole cucumbers. That sounds awkward and hard to chew.
Oh dear.
BG won't be able to face food again. No, she won't. Well, I mean, she couldn't anyway, but, you know. Now she's got imagination land when she gets salami. What's in the salami? Is there head cheese? Yes, actually, because salami is just,
I'm not gonna get salami ever again. That's never happening ever again.
Do you want to know what goes into bologna? Lips and assholes!
Just no.
But you know what goes into the head cheese? The face, and that's it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You don't even get. I don't even think they put the brain in there. I think it's really just the face, because you sell the brain for something else. I know way too much about this. I worked in the deli for too long. Yeah. And Red is like, I thought BG liked cheese. Well, I hate to break it to you, Red, but head cheese has nothing to do with cheese.
Yes. Gross.
It has nothing to do with cheese. But a lot of people are turned off by it because it has the name cheese in it. Like, if they just said face meat, it would be less of a turn off than head cheese. It'd still be gross. But it'd be less of a turn off for some people, because people are like, why is there head and cheese in the same sentence? It sounds like a euphemism for, like, a blowjob or something.
I'll be exactly what it is.
The result of a blowjob, yeah.
It's just gross.
Red is like, what, false advertising? Yeah, it is. Well, it's like cheesecake. You know, everyone, when they hear cheesecake, thinks like a cheddar cheesecake. And then they're like, oh, cream cheese, which isn't, like, it's cheese, but it's not really cheese.
It's cheese enough.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure what the difference is there. Like, I think it has to do with the bacteria or something being different. I can't
One of
remember.
them's creamy and one of them isn't.
I just can't remember. Do you know, Trucker? I don't know that you necessarily bake a lot, but difference between cream cheese and cheese?
Yeah, one of them's creamy, one of them's not. One of them's spreadable, one of them's not.
One of them's aged, one of them's not. One of them has usually bacteria added to it. I don't know about cream cheese, though.
Cream cheese is pretty much it's hard to explain, but it's pretty much curdled cream.
Okay. Oh, okay. So not really cheese. It doesn't have the bacteria.
It's not aged. It's not aged for anywhere near the amount of time that any other cheese is.
Okay. I'm not throwing shade at it either. I'm just saying that it's a different material. Like, sometimes something will be called something similar because of texture too. Like, I've noticed that a lot with old cooking. When you look at the names and what they were going for, when they were, like, a lot of the names are describing what they were doing with it. That's what I found.
like-
It's funny.
Like jerk chicken,
hmm
give or take. Yeah.
I don't know if that's how they were killing it. I don't know. I made that up. That last part was just me being a jerk. I'm jerking your chain.
Ew. Wilson, shut up, nobody asked you.
Oh, so it's smegma. No, I don't think it's smegma. Don't make me say naughty words. Sup, chickens, you freaks. I know, right? That sounds like a Kenny and Spenny video. I remember coming into work. I did have to start an oven full of chickens, and my coworker comes in. I watched this episode where this dude boned a chicken on TV. I'm like, what? Yeah, he fucked a chicken on TV. It was a contest. He was supposed to freak out his buddy, so he did it on. I'm like, what? What are they putting on TV?
Is this a Japanese TV show?
I don't think I could play that on here either, because I would totally get copyright striked. I think it was on the old Cartoon Network back when they had the adult show. Or like the adult TV lineup. I didn't have cable at the time. I only ever like heard about this stuff through other people, and then they'd show me clips, and I'd be like, "That's wow! Don't let your kids watch TV when you're not around." We've spoken about that earlier. We said that don't let your kids watch TV without you around, because they will just start stuff, and that's not their fault, and it's not your fault, but it is if you're not paying attention. Chicken fucker is definitely weird. See, I'm not making it up. Stephen M knows what I'm talking about. Stephen knows what I'm talking about. Moose knows what I'm talking about. Chicken fucker. Oh, good. Good, I'm not making stuff up.
Shut up, cat.
Anyway, does anybody have anything else? We should probably start wrapping up. We're almost at the 2 o'clock. We got like 18 more minutes, so we can start talking about other things for a few minutes. What do you got going on, Trucker? You traveling to somewhere exotic this year or this week?
Well, right now I'm actually sitting here at a restaurant getting ready to eat my dinner.
Oh, there you go. Not exactly exotic, but pleasant. Hopefully. Hopefully. All right.
Yeah, actually, they got a pretty good roast pork.
Oh, okay. And how about yourself, BG?
Nope.
Nope. Any?
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. You got plans with Jack tomorrow. You're gonna freeze your ass off at a pool.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome. I feel like I'm more your evil friend than your nice friend, even though I'm trying to cheer you up.
Well, you know, it's, yeah.
You know what? Maybe he'll be an angel tomorrow. I mean, he was nice for your mom the other day. He's been pulling surprises out of his pocket sometimes.
Oh, yeah, he'll probably be in a good mood. Just doesn't mean I'm not gonna freeze to death.
Yeah. We need to get you a full-on bodysuit for your pool. You know, because they can do that. You could do that. They're just probably expensive. But, you know, for the sake of keeping yourself from freezing.
They are somewhat expensive, but, you know, not, no, I just figure I'll deal with it.
You can deal with it for now. I'm just saying for something to look towards, maybe. See if maybe... You know what would be nice is if they did it in pieces, so you didn't have to buy a full suit. You know?
That would be nice.
But I only have ideas. I do not have access to manufacturers where I could just be like, hey, you know this idea where you could just cut it into pieces because not everybody's going into the full ocean, but some people could use some of it for, like, issues. Like, you know. Diabetic people could use it for the poo.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
A scuba Steve suit? Yeah, basically. That's what I mean, Red.
Yeah, a scuba Steve suit.
Oh.
Yeah, because we love Steve, and I just need to be reminded of him all day and all of the night.
And Big Joe can't believe that Will Smith has been banned from the Oscars for the next 10 years. And I actually agree with that. Like, I can understand banning him for a year or two because what he did was mischief. It was misconduct in an event. You know, you would ban most people for a couple years. I don't know that it would necessarily be for life, but most people wouldn't be allowed into an event like that. So, you know, I get that their standards are a little bit different. But the moment that Chris Rock said that he wasn't going to push charges or anything like that, they didn't need to push more punishment on him past upholding some of their own rules. And I feel like they're doing that more to make a point than necessarily to discipline him. Like, what he did was unacceptable.
Exactly a good point. It's a good point they're trying to make. And they're trying to make this point that, no, you can't just assault people because you're rich and famous. Because I can tell you, you might think banned for 10 years is, you know, like overkill. But let me tell you, if that was a janitor that did that, he'd be in jail right now. So, is it an overreaction? No. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
I think it's because they're going with their standards, and that's the thing that makes it confusing, because they're not going by regular people's standards. And it makes it so much harder to understand the situation. Like I said, like I can understand not taking full charges with him because Chris Rock was the guy who was assaulted. You know, he does have some say on how his side is reacting to it. And he's reacting to it with jokes. And I support that. He has every right to rip a new hole for Will Smith because Will Smith hit him for a joke. I just don't understand their rules. I think that's the thing that confuses me with Hollywood, is they just make up their own rules.
Yes, and then when they realize that their own rules don't hold water, they are what we call reactionary.
It's not a healthy thing to be in, to be honest. I really don't envy Hollywood as much as people would think. Like, having all that notoriety, having all that money has to be really constraining. And then when you know that to keep all that, you have to put up with a bunch of assholes who are kind of like gross. I wouldn't want that, to be honest. I'm kind of grateful that my dad never encouraged that. Like, anytime I talked about wanting to go into Hollywood, he was like, you know, it's really kind of not as great as you think. But, you know, everyone has their own opinion on stuff. Yeah, I agree. Chris Rock's brother was more angry than him. But I also think Chris Rock is older, is my understanding, and I also think he's more mature. Like, I'm more of a fan of Chris Rock more because of this event to begin with. Because seeing a man his age react to it the way that he did was more hopeful to me than what I saw from Will Smith. Because he showed a man who could handle his own without resorting to what Will did. You know, he used his words, he calmed himself down, and he was like, listen, you know, it wasn't acceptable what he did. There's got to be a point where people got to learn how to react to things a little bit better. And we don't live in a society anymore where you can just rely on your fists. You just cause more problems for yourself and the people around you when you do. And, I can imagine that's kind of torture for a lot of dudes and some women, because a lot of people respond to anger with their fists.
Well, thing is, there's a weird twist on that whole mess that not many people are really addressing. Where you were saying Chris Rock's not pressing charges, it doesn't really matter. The state can actually still press charges against Will Smith because something where there's overwhelming proof that yes, he did it. The state is actually still able to press charges.
Okay.
As it being a violent act against the state and the state's concept of order.
Okay.
Now, just the fact that it's Will Smith that did it still shows a pretty good amount of privilege.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I you know what? I think it's a catch-20. I think regardless of what they did, somebody was not going to be happy about it. I just have mixed feelings because for me it does seem a little bit overblown, but at the same time though, they might not even hold to it. You know, they didn't hold to their words before anyway. Like I could see them going 5 years and then being, you know what, he's been, you know, good, he's had good behavior. Let's cut it in half or something. I could see them doing that too. You know, so who
They're
knows?
not engaged, so of course they will.
You know, I generally will stand by what I've been saying the last couple weeks. It's none of my business, but if you want the opinion of someone who doesn't know you personally and is just an outsider looking at what looks like a toxic relationship, sometimes the best thing to do is just to split and like take a look at what you really need. Like really, really take a look at what you really need because you look like you're killing yourself. Like I couldn't ever say anything to Robin Williams, who's dead, as a normie who didn't have any right to his life in that way. I could never tell him, you know, I really appreciate you for more than just your jokes. And he's gone. And nobody who loved him in life can ever take him back and correct that. That's why I don't want to rain parades on him. Like I think he behaved badly, and I think his situation looks like shit from the outside. I don't have any opinion outside of that. But maybe get some help because I don't want to see somebody that I admired as a kid kill himself when a few words maybe could have helped. I don't know. I ain't God and I ain't a savior and I'm not a miracle worker. I just like people sometimes and then I feel bad because I can't do anything for a stranger. Anybody else got anything to say?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
We are 8 minutes away from the 2 o'clock, so you know we could end it. We could end it. You know. I don't know what's going on except for that.
Yes,
Okay. I know that Monday is going to be BG's turn, unless something happens, because I will always take the reins if she needs help, vice versa, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I do streams on Wednesday with Hammer, the One-Time Hammer, and Terry. And I'm going to do a little shout out for Adam, Mr. Adam, because it's his first stream on Sunday. He's taking over for Della. And I know I don't do this kind of stuff very often because I forget to, but if you guys want to go and give him a shout out and watch him on his first stream, I think he's gearing it towards a game stream. Like he's got him and another host. But he's a little bit nervous about it because he's never hosted his own. And he's a nice enough guy. Don't tell him I sent you though, because the guy keeps flirting with me. I'm like, he can't do that. All right. So we're going to say goodnight. And everybody have a good one. And it's Easter next week, which means that a week from now, we're going to all have cheap chocolate. Cheap chocolate, BG. Cheap chocolate. Where's my OBS?